Hi guys, again. So, as you can see, I'm not dressed to impress, but I thought that this would be a great opportunity to start to get to know you, and get you to know me a little bit, right? So, why is it that I'm asking for these fundings for this um, Reclaiming Me charity, right? So, Reclaiming Me, let me explain a little bit about that real fast, is a charity. It's a nonprofit organization, meaning none of the proceeds go to me. I do not benefit from this at all. Who benefits from this is a young woman who, unfortunately, in today's society, if you look at the statistics, 7 out of 10 women, they say, have been through some sort of sexual assault, harassment, violence, and rape. And if you even look further, you'll know that most of these instances are not reported. So, the reason that, and I apologize, I might get emotional, but no, actually, I don't. I don't apologize for that because that's what's needed in today's world. We have so much, those of you who know yin and yang, the masculine, feminine, we have so much masculine, like energetic, do energy out there. And we don't have so much like feminine, just like feel. And that's what I want to give. So I'm Mahamabed, and I am a rape survivor. I'm an abuse survivor. I am somebody who should have been dead. In fact, I did die. This is not easy for me, but I'm just doing this in hopes that it will help somebody else, because I remember when I was a little girl, I used to go to the libraries hoping and praying that there was some other Middle Eastern, Pakistani, Indian girl that had written a memoir about how she got through some of the things that I was going through, right? And I found no one. So really my hope is just to have my voice be heard, because that's so much of what rape is about. It's not about taking a flap of skin, the hymen in between your legs. It's about taking away your sense of safety in the world. It's about taking away hope. It's about taking away yourself. It's about mind control and being warped into things that I wouldn't even wish on my worst enemy. So, let me start with how it began. I have only been modeling and acting for a little bit over a year. Acting like a couple of months. I don't think it's been 6 months yet. But, I grew up in a very stern, Middle Eastern, Indo-Pakistani household. You girls know what I'm talking about. You feel me. You feel me. I know a lot of cultures feel me, especially on the Eastern side. You Latinas, you Asian people, you Middle Eastern people, even some of you American people. A lot of you American people, I've realized. So my platform originally was going to be just towards Middle Eastern women, but I've realized, unfortunately, that this is such a widespread problem. The way our society makes these powerful, dynamic women is just not sustainable. Okay, I don't want this for my daughter. I'm a mom. I don't want this for your daughter. I don't want this for the many daughters of Eve that come into this world. We can't just put them through fire and hope that they survive, because honestly, half of them die off. I have friends in Pakistan who have had acid thrown on their faces and have had physical deformities, so no one will accept them because they dated before it was time for their arranged marriage. And luckily, I was blessed with parents, that were a little bit more liberal. So I was nerdy little Maham, right? Middle school. went into high school, and I still wore the hijab. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's the traditional head covering that a lot of Muslim women wear. And honestly, don't tell anyone. It's a secret. I chose that because I wanted a matching scarf with every outfit. And it was a great way for me to get my parents to give me the money to buy all the scarves in the world. And 1 week later, guess what happens? Twin Towers, 9/11, lives lost. And unfortunately, as we know, in every culture, there's those extremists, and then the majority of people who are just people of that culture take the brunt of that hatred, of that racism. I had rocks thrown at me while I was walking down the street one day in Charleston, and that's when my parents and I finally decided that it was time for me to take the headscarf off because it was dangerous. And all I just wanted was a matching scarf. It wasn't even for religious reasons. It was just for beauty and being like a queen. But when I first went into high school, I met this boy, and I had grown up always feeling like I wasn't good enough, right? Like, I'm just a black sheep of the family. How many of you can relate? Like this if you can relate. Who's the black sheep of the family? Seriously. My brother's a doctor. My sister's a lawyer. I'm just me. I'm the one my parents worry about. And I'm the oldest. And he made me feel like I was amazing. And you guys, that felt good to my heart, to feel validated, to feel okay, to feel like I was valuable to someone. And so naturally I leaned into that, and you won't believe how many years I have spent beating myself up over that. Because I gave into love and belonging. And you won't believe how many years I have spent in therapy realizing that that is a normal, completely human need in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We all need a place to belong. And I felt like I belonged with this guy. He made me feel special, like I was someone, like I was worthy. And I told him, I remember, I was like, I can't date. I have an arranged marriage, but I'll be your friend because my heart wanted that. Was my heart wrong for that? Is your heart wrong for wanting love and belonging? Does that mean you deserve rape and abuse? It's a question for you to answer. I have my own. No. It's absolutely not okay. And so I trusted him with my most vulnerable secrets of how I felt like I wasn't enough. You guys, I laugh at it now, but there was a good part of my childhood into early adulthood where I felt like I was literally the Antichrist. And it wasn't till some therapist told me, Mom, you're just not that important. And I was like, ah! Like, exit anxiety about being the Antichrist and cue depression. I'm not important. What does that mean? So I leaned into it. I leaned into what felt good, what felt like a place of belonging, because I was too Eastern for the Western people and too Western for the Eastern people. And I gave him all the ammunition. And I only realized that in retrospect, but I trusted him. And I should have seen the red flags, guys. I should have, would have, could have, right? And here's actually, this is where I'm going to transition between being the person who survived rape and abuse and being the logical person with a psychology master's degree. Like, I should have, would have, could have. No, don't do that. But I really, on one hand, if you take the elevator down from my mind to my heart, something feels like I should have known the red flags, but I didn't. The fact that he wanted to know where I was at all times, wanted to, tell me what to wear so other boys wouldn't look at me, wanted to tell me, what to eat, everything, control everything. I saw that as love. I was like, wow, there's somebody that cares about me so much, so deeply, that they want to really make sure I'm safe. And unfortunately, in the Middle Eastern culture, I can't go tell my parents I had a boyfriend. I was destined for an arranged marriage, and I was too scared to disappoint them. And so red flags continued on through high school. And then we went to the same college. And unfortunately, the situation at home was such that my parents had decided that it was time for me to go away because it was just getting very toxic at home because I was the black sheep. And I went. And you guys, my first sexual experience ever was rape at gunpoint with my best friend that I had trusted in high school. It was college orientation. College hadn't even begun yet. And we drove to Sonic on Blossom Street, right? How many of my USC people are out there? And, it was crowded. And we took our food to go and we drove to, a parking lot. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And he said, take off your clothes. I laughed. I was like, that's cute. Seriously, what's going on? Until I saw the gun. He wrapped the seatbelt around my neck. And I was raped. And the only thing, you guys, this is so hard for me to talk about. I haven't visited these memories in so long. But this is why this charity is so important to me. Because the mind control happens so much longer before any of the first hit or the first physical act of violence ever happens. But I remember clearly it was raining on the way back when he dropped me off at Capstone. How many of y'all know about that? It's an honors college student. It's a dorm with a revolving rooftop at USC, at the University of South Carolina. And I just remember looking at the raindrops. And that was the first time in my life that I felt numb. Like, I have always been an empath. I've always felt too much. That's been my problem. Oh, Mom, you don't need to worry about that much. That is always what I hear from my parents. Yes, I get this weird accent sometimes. But that was the first time. And I remember looking at the raindrops. And I will never lose that memory. Because that is the day that my trust in the world was shaken. And it didn't end with that. That was just the beginning. Because now I had enough of a distance from my parents, right? And I didn't want to lose that freedom. Finally, the freedom to go and do whatever I wanted to do. Even if it was going to McDonald's. Like, my freedom looked like freaking wearing shorts. My freedom looked like going to McDonald's at 1 a.m. I wasn't doing anything crazy. But I didn't want to lose that because it's so sweet. And I want everyone to experience that. So in an attempt to avoid disappointing my parents and also trying to keep that freedom, I just kept quiet. And that continued for 4 years until my parents found out. There are so many horror stories I can tell you. I'm just going to insert one here. This one is about when somebody else saw him push me out. Let me clarify this. Somebody else saw him push me out of a moving vehicle. Okay? And they called the cops. And you know what I did? I said, I had to throw up, so I opened the door in the middle of a freaking moving highway and decided to throw up there. And you guys, I will never, ever forget that cop's face. I don't even know what his name was anymore. But the way he looked at me, all he just said was, I have 2 daughters. I know what's going on. But my hands are tied until you tell me. You can get out of this. But I didn't take heed to his words. Because at that point, he had so much power over me. And you know the part that hurts the most? I can't tell you how many times I was raped after that. The rape turned into beatings. I used to come home with black eyes and make some excuse about running into a tree during my herpetology class while we were going. Herpetology, y'all, it means the study of reptiles, okay? Not herpes. Coming back and just telling my parents I ran into a tree or some sort of BS. Because I had this magical ability, right? That God had given me to dissociate. I could get raped and beaten the out of at 5 a.m. But I could go into USC's library at 6 and study for my organic test and go ace it at 8:30 and graduate valedictorian. Not one semester did I have less than a 4.0. So my parents were clueless. Because freedom was that important to me. And it got worse and worse until he felt like he could literally, not could, but did, slap me in front of people. He pushed me at another instant, out of a moving vehicle. There was a time where I accidentally tried to fight him off and he would not let me go out of the car, which is getting to the next point, until I took his pocket knife and scratched my own face with it, made a cut in it where I had accidentally scratched him with my nails, and coming round circle to the point of mind control. The bruises were not that painful, you guys. The hits, the broken clavicle bones, the black eyes, those heal. What didn't was when he was doing it, the words he said, because I had given him that ammunition. This is the reason that I'm doing this to you, Maham, he said. If you were just like, blank, 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 and name people that I knew and I was friends with, I wouldn't be doing this to you because they're people of worth. Look at how they carry themselves. They don't deserve this. You are an abomination, Maham. This is why I'm doing this to you. Long after the bruises healed, you guys, I still to this day struggle with that. I struggle with thinking whether or not I'm worthy of love and belonging. And I don't want this to be a sad story, even though it is. I know it is. But my hope comes back to the first thing that I said, is I searched so much for some woman of my cultural descent who dealt with the same rigorous standards of societal norms that a Middle Eastern family does, and that could testify to how to deal with this, and I found nothing. And I want to be that voice. Okay, it doesn't even matter. If this can help somebody long after I'm gone, I'm here. I was you. I lived through it. Okay, he got a puppy for us, and you guys know the abuse cycle too well. It's like abuse, remorse, abuse, remorse, abuse. Like it's like showering of gifts, and he got us a puppy, and then he decided to torture our puppy named Callie, our little golden retriever puppy, unless I did exactly what he said. And I have buried these memories inside of me. And you guys, it all links together. And finally, it got to a point a week before my parents finally found out what was happening. My roommate at the time in college, you might see her on a podcast later, had decided to write my parents an anonymous note, telling them what was going on. Like, hey, your daughter's really in danger. And I remember meeting him because I'm from Charleston, and the highways are not, they're not that small. They're not that like varied, I guess. There's only one highway you can take to get to Columbia. And my car wreck happened. And that was the point at which I tried to get away. And he was like, you know, if I can't be with you, then no one else will, because you are a worthless piece of crap. You are damaged goods. And for a long time, I believed that. And I wish I could sit here and tell you that I'm over that, but there are days where I still fall back into that way of thinking. That is why this charity is so important. Reclaiming Me is something that was started by Dr. Tracy Kemble, and it helps young women in a twofold approach. One is preventative. It helps educate young women on the difference between what is consent and what is control, what is love and what is power. Like, if I had known those things, maybe I wouldn't be here. But you know what? I'm one of the ones that survived. I've just told you maybe 1/100th of the stories that I have in my mind. But my hope is that some young girl will watch this. Kind of a sidetrack, you guys. At one point, it got so crazy when I said a young girl would watch this that I used to make, I have a video of myself at like 16, 17 years old saying, hey, Mom, don't trust him. Do not go back to him. He will do the same stuff over again. And guess who was seen at the movie theaters the next day with him? Abuse, narcissistic abuse starts with the mind, you guys. It starts with the mind. So when you see that girl who calls you and is like, my boyfriend hit me, my boyfriend did this, and then you see her go back to him and you want to call her crazy, just know that that is very sadistically, in a weird way, normal. there's so many studies done, even on MRI scans of people who have been through stuff like this, and how responsive your amygdala becomes on this high and low. It's almost like being addicted to drugs of, I love you, but I'm going to throw a brick in your face. Please, please get out. Okay? And if you are watching this, if you are a guy that's watching this, I promise you, our world, the way we create strong women is not sustainable. You all came from a woman. That is why I'm so passionate about this charity. That is why I want you guys to help me help others. I feel like that's my life's purpose. There's no way I could have gone through all of that stuff, which 1/100th of what you've heard. And maybe one day I'll have courage to tell you the rest. But I fear for my daughter. And every single relationship after that has been affected. So please know, even if it doesn't make sense, because I was the girl when my roommate called the police on him for showing up at our door and banging at our door with a gun at the retreat in Colombia, precisely, if you want to know. And the cops came in and they asked him to leave. And guess who came back 5 minutes later? And he was arrested right there on the spot. Do you know who bailed him out? Take a wild guess. Me. I still remember and I shudder at the thought of that menacing look that he gave me right as he got into the cop's car and he said, "You better fix this." And so I begged my friends to help me raise enough money to get the same dude that had broken my bones, raped me, took my virginity, everything, out of jail, just so he could do that all over again. How does that make sense? It doesn't. Logic is gone. Okay? They take over your mind. So before that happens, I want to help young girls get educated. Young girls that can't perhaps talk to their parents and don't have good role models of what love looks like. So please, you can make a difference, even if it's $1, a penny, because all of these proceeds go to Reclaiming Me, which helps young women get educated about what abuse and love is, what the difference is. And knowledge, you guys, is power. So, and even if you can't make a monetary donation, make a share, because somebody will relate to this. 7 out of 10 girls. Let me repeat that one more time. You walk down the street, 7 out of 10 women that you see have gone through some sort of sexual assault, sexual harassment, rape, or something of the sort. We have to change this. This is no longer acceptable. And I know I'm just one person, but I know that with you, my voice can be heard. And that's precisely what didn't happen. That's what rape takes away from you, is your voice is not heard. The times you scream no is not heard. The times you beg God to please forgive you for dating doesn't work. So we need angels. And sometimes angels come in the form of human beings. So if you can, donate something to this charity, which means so much to me. I wish I had found that. I wish I had found Dr. Tracy Kimball when I was younger. So please help, because you matter. And you counting on others watching this video being like, oh, they'll contribute. Hello, bystander effect. No, that's not going to happen. You, yes, you is who I'm talking to. The person looking at me right now. I need you to step up. For me, for you, for your mother, for other women, and for the beautiful beings we are bringing into the world that will be our daughters, will be someone's sisters, will be someone's whole world. Please, help me in my journey. Help me speak up, because I never reported this person. He's still wild and free. But this is my only hope. Until next time, guys. I love you and thank you for listening.